I wanted to make a video discussing Ymir for a while now. My original video script was actually recorded and ready for release all the way back in August. Unfortunately, my former video editor took the money I paid him up front to edit the video and ran, which kind of discouraged me from making it again. Even though he's still an asshole for doing what he did, I'm happy he did what he did, because I admittedly think that I had a very shallow understanding of Ymir at that time. My understanding of Ymir has grown since then, and it has grown now to the point where I believe that I can say with absolute confidence that this character is fundamentally broken to the core. She's mentally broken by the trauma she went through in her life. She's logically broken by the plan she came up with to save herself from her decisions, and she's narratively broken by the way Isayama chose to write the way that she solved her problems. While my understanding of Ymir has changed, my perception of her has not. I say what I say about this character back then, the first day I read the additional pages of chapter 139. Ymir is either the dumbest character in all of Attack on Titan, or anything else for that matter, or the most evil creature ever written. Allow me to explain how I came to this conclusion. Let's start off by going over Ymir's life. We'll start off by going over what Isayama wrote for her that cannot be left up to interpretation in any way. Ymir was a slave who appreciated freedom, which is why she freed the pigs. She was a slave who longed for love, which is why she's shown staring at a couple. And she was a slave who wanted to live, which is why she ran for her life after being outed as the one who freed the pigs. These are three undeniable facts about her character, and they are all very important for understanding her and why she is broken. After she turns into a Titan, Ymir still behaves as a slave. With all the power in the world, still she does whatever her master commands, even has his children. This proves to us that Ymir values love more than freedom. She would rather live a life with someone who clearly cares nothing for her than to stand up and fight for her own freedom. This is a tragic and dark reality that is most certainly possible even in our world, and it's very unfortunate that some people have to go through this. Some people actually have the power to leave their abusers but choose not to because of whatever reason. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's complacency, maybe it's love, one-sided, but love all the same. I don't pretend to know the answer, and I don't pretend like this is not realistic, but I have to ask a question. If Ymir values love over her own freedom, then why did she free the pigs in the first place? Ymir must have known that freeing the pigs would have consequences. Why go and put herself in this situation just for some animals? This proves that in Ymir's mind, while love is more important than freedom, freedom is more important than her own life. She is willing to put her own life on the line to free others, even if the others she frees are animals. But that doesn't mean her life is not important to her. When the consequences for freeing the pigs is bestowed upon her, Ymir runs for her life. This proves that her life is important to her. She does want to live, which is why she runs, desperately clinging to life rather than accepting her fate. With this, we have all of Ymir's personality traits that Isayama has given us, and the order of their importance. First is love, second is freedom, and lastly is her own life. Now let's discuss Ymir's death. When the king is nearly killed, she jumps in front of the spear and is punctured for him. Because of what we know about Titans, and the way the scene is written and presented, Ymir has the choice to either regenerate in this moment or die. Everything that Isayama has shown to us about this character up until this point in the story says that she would choose to regenerate. She chose to live before she was receiving her perception of love, and now she was loved more than ever before, if not by the king, then her daughters, who she would have known would have needed her more than anyone else had ever needed her. But Ymir does not regenerate. This time she accepts death. So now Ymir has changed. She no longer values love over freedom. Freedom is more important to her than any and everything else. Was it the spear that gave Ymir this epiphany? How could she have possibly changed her character motivation in such a split moment? If this was not a spur of the moment decision, then why did she not use the power of the Titans to free herself, which would have provided her freedom and preserved her life? Because of this question and the implications of the answer, we can only assume that it was a spur of the moment decision to not regenerate from the wound of the spear, because if it wasn't, then it makes no sense. So Ymir dies and arrives in Paths. At this moment in her life, she has actively chosen to die in order to be free. She has chosen freedom over everything else, her daughters, her love, her life, everything. And because of this, she is cursed to be a slave who builds titans for all eternity. But why? Because Fritz willed it? Okay, so? Fritz willed that she continue to live and she disobeyed him. Why can Ymir disobey Fritz only when she deems fit, especially when she decided that her freedom was more important than her life? So therefore, Path must not be Ymir's choice. This must be something that she has no say in. This is her hell for not standing up for herself and her daughters, for not valuing freedom, for not being true to herself. She must be a slave, even in death. I can accept that. That is a fair enough answer for me. But no, this is not the answer. This is not the case. Ymir is not doing this for Fritz or anyone else. She is doing this for herself. Ymir has the autonomy to choose to stop creating titans whenever she wants to, but she doesn't. She continues to create titans for thousands of years, causing uncountable amounts of pain and devastation. But why? All so that she can test if Mikasa is strong enough to deny her version of Fritz and Eren. If her test is a success, then Ymir will end the Titan curse. If not, we don't know what happens if not. Setting that plot hole aside, this is where Ymir's crackling character shatters into pieces. It shatters with one simple question. Why Eren? I asked this question with two different meanings. The first meaning, why Eren? Out of all the Eldians born in the past 2,000 years, why did she choose to send this message to Eren? Why did she pick him out of everyone else? Was he really the closest person to Fritz that she could find? What similarities do they share? If you ask me, they are almost complete opposites. While you and I may have different understandings of Eren, I'd be perplexed if anyone would believe that he would co-sign slavery, let alone act in it himself. I also doubt he would send hunters to kill said slave if she disobeyed him. Clearly, Fritz and Eren have nothing in common, so then it must be his connection to Mikasa. After all, Mikasa would serve Eren the way Ymir herself would serve Fritz, and never receive any form of love or affection from him, right? Well, no, that's not true either. Eren and Mikasa's relationship was entirely different from hers and Fritz. Again, nearly the exact opposite. While Fritz wanted Ymir to be his slave forever, even after death, Eren wanted the opposite. He wanted Mikasa to be free from him, during life and after his death. So Eren is not like Fritz, and his relationship with Mikasa is not like hers was with Fritz. So again, why Eren? There's really no answer to this question, and the crazy part is I haven't even fully asked it yet. I want to ask why Eren in another way too, the way that people who try to defend this ending need to hear in order to see the truth. We as an audience know for an absolute fact that she didn't choose Eren based on the similarities of her and Fritz's dynamic. So what other reason could there possibly be? It must be because of Aaron's nature. That is the only other logical answer that we can surmise. While it's certainly a stretch to believe that in 2,000 years no one would place the same amount of value on freedom as Ymir did, no one would have the conviction to actually become what Aaron became, but I will accept it. This is fiction after all. We have to have some suspension of disbelief. Maybe Aaron was the first Eldian of 2,000 years to value freedom over his own life. It's certainly possible, and it's certainly true that he did. So maybe that is why Ymir chose him. But if that is why Ymir chose him, then I have to ask again. Why did Ymir choose Aaron if she already knew what he would do? If she already knew who he would become? If she already knew the choices he would make? If she already knew the answer to her test? When she sent him that message in the first episode, Aaron wanted to be free, yes, but he was not a Titan. The walls had not been broken, and his fate had not yet been sealed. All Ymir knew at that time was that Aaron wanted to be free, but if she did not know that he would obtain a Titan, her test would be pointless. So Ymir knew that Aaron would be the perfect candidate for her test, not only because of his lust for freedom, but also because of his conviction, leading him to destroying the world. This implies that Ymir has the power to see all events that would occur to all Eldians, which is the final nail in the coffin for her character. If Ymir could see it all, then why did she need to test in the first place? She already knew what would happen. From the moment she entered Paths, she had access to all future Eldians' decisions. So why did she go through with the test in the first place? Did she need to physically see it happen? Well, she didn't. She was in Paths the entire time anyway. Even if Isayama drew her here to convince us to pretend like she was there, she wasn't. So to recap, Ymir conducted a test that caused 2,000 years of devastation and a climax that killed billions of people, all for her to find out whether or not someone who had absolutely no similarities to herself or her former love would be able to go against their own love. A test that she did not even have to conduct because she already knew the results of the test 2,000 years ago. Once her completely inaccurate and unnecessary test is completed, she finally decides to let herself die and finally put life over love. Even though it doesn't matter because she's already dead. This makes Ymir Fritz either the dumbest character of all time or the most vile, disgusting creature ever written in fiction. I highly doubt that Isayama was going for either one of these things, which ultimately means that Ymir and her writing is fundamentally broken.